Welcome to the Release Show. I'm your host, Brittany Sconyers. On today's show, writer and producer. Her experience spans on camera, stage, voiceover, and dance. She started storytelling at a young age. In high school, prompted by an English teacher, Dana began writing short stories, poetry, and practicing in poetry slams. Her passion for the arts remains alive, and sharing her work is an act she deems necessary. Ultimately, Dana is dedicated to creating and performing work that sparks dialogue and action to better society. Let's welcome Dana.
Hi.
How are you?
Well, how are you?
I'm great. Happy to have you on the show.
Happy to be here.
Yay. Before we begin, we'd like to ask, what is it like to be in your shoes? How do you see the world, and how do you think the world sees you?
That's a good one. Hang on for a minute. Let me get my coffee. What's it like to be in my shoes? I would say be ready to be exhausted. Just like your scene was before, like when we were backstage here, you know, the entrepreneur, staying on track with the teacher, like keeping it all together. That's a lot of what being in my shoes is like, because I choose to step into so many things. And I do that by choice because I am an explorer of the world. I like to experience things. So I do feel like people see me that way, that they see me as courageous, I hear, or brave, or definitely bold. So those are products of me just being a doer.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I can definitely see you are very passionate about what you do. I love your beautiful art behind you that you actually do yourself. Yes, love it. At what age did you realize you had a passion for entertainment, and how did you find it out?
Oh, well, that's a tough one because entertainment was part of our family. So by my family being in Harlem and having a dance studio, there was a big concert every summer that was at Lincoln Center. It was a big to do. It was great to see these brown and Black children on this stage down in this big part of Manhattan, and like it was always there for me. So I knew that we did. I knew we did that. That's the legacy of my auntie's dance studio, is that I knew that Black folks perform on stage and that we're part of the fine arts community. And I think I was late to get into dance though. I really didn't step into it until, like, I dabbled in it probably around like age 4 or so, but I didn't step all the way into dance until about like 9 or 10. And that was it for me. And I had a first dance teacher that I'm still friends with till this day that was really nurturing and just believed in me and pushed me. And I got like further into it and just went all the way. And then that just opened me up for more art, like visual arts and sculpture and everything I could get my hands on. I think that was just part of my inspiration as a human being from way back.
Mm-hmm. Children often inspired to be different, amazing things like at a very young age, but usually change their minds due to pressure from their parents and their environment. How did your environment influence your passion for the arts?
My parents definitely encouraged my creativity. I really do credit them for being who I am today, because I got a chance to try whatever I wanted. I clearly remember taking baton class. Who takes baton class? I can still spin a baton. Pretty cool, you know? And I remember taking like sculpture. I would drag my mom to Michael's all the time. I would drag my mom and dad to the Blick art store. I think it was Blick back then. And I look at that now and I'm like, those acrylics and oils were not cheap.
No.
I don't think I was working yet. That I can say that I grew up in an environment that nurtured that side of me and allowed me to really, really explore all aspects of my creativity.
oils were not cheap because my daughter just started art class and the teacher sent me these drawing markers and I looked at them and I was like, $150 for like 30 colors. I was like, she's 6 years old. Let's find some cheaper ones to make sure she's super passionate about art. You know what I mean? So I just did some research and I was like, listen, I definitely have to find, like, she's not a professional. I get when she gets to that level, but I didn't realize that art is so expensive. And I think because I'm into art too, but I do more of like the acrylic paint. And when I go to Michael's, the acrylic paint is like, what, $3 here, whatever. So I'm not thinking that some markers cost this much money. Like, it's crazy. So yeah, shout out to you guys because I don't know how I feel about spending $150 on some markers.
You know what the fun part about that is, though, she probably has a very enthusiastic and passionate art teacher.
Okay.
That to you, like, I don't have all these colors. That's the toolbox, right? So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and even like colored pencils, it's like these different brands of colored pencils. So I was like, listen, I want you to have a variety of colors because some of them would come with like more grays. And I was like, she's more of like a vibrant girl. So she likes the pinks, the purples, the yellows. And so I found some of those and hopefully they work. Huh?
I said, I wonder where she got this from.
I know, right? Her mama. What advice do you have for people out there who wish to accomplish specific dreams and have a second thought about them?
First advice is that second thought, throw it in the trash. If you really want the thing, if you want the dream, if you want it, it's not about thinking about what could go wrong or what if it doesn't work or what if people hate it? Like, that is trash. I do it every day. Don't get me wrong. But what I let guide me and lead me is the best outcome, the picture of what it would feel like and look like to have that thing that I want, the dream. And this could be as high up as your dreams that seem so unfathomable, even like in the climate that we're in right now, down to the basic things of like, can I work out today? Like, think about the way you're going to feel when it goes right, instead of thinking of all the ways to talk yourself out of it. That we're going to listen to chatter. So like, listen to the good chatter. That's the advice I would have to give. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't fulfill their dreams because of fear. I think fear is the biggest factor in that, is that we're so fearful that what if you just go out there and just do it and just see what happens. We all go through storms. And so don't expect to just think this thing is going to just be beautiful, because you're going to go through trials and tribulations. That's a part of life. Even if you look at your regular life, don't you go through that? So just think about following your dream. It's going to be the same thing. But if you're passionate about it, it won't feel that way. So people have more strength to just live their passion. I think the world would just be such a beautiful place, right? Because you wouldn't have all these angry people, because I think anger comes from that too, right? If you're not fulfilling your purpose and your passion in life, it's like, everything bothers you. You know what I mean? And so I think when you're so passionate about something, you love it and you just shoot for the stars.
Shoot for the stars.
Let's talk about your first theater production in 2018. What inspired you to create such an impressive piece?
I got tricked.
Did you?
So I'm a big believer now, like looking back at that, I'm a big believer in being around or in the company of or the guidance of people that see you way bigger than you see yourself. Because I tease about this. I got tricked into storytelling. My friend was doing research for a project that he was starting up with his theater company, Collaboration. And I'm a longtime supporter of this theater company. It's a theater for social change based here in Chicago, but do a lot of really great work that allows first-time artists, first-time writer, whatever your discipline is, to come in and they produce the stuff. So I think that in the back of his mind, he knew I had a good story to tell. He talked to me about my experience with racism in the suburbs of Chicago. We kind of interviewed, and then he was like, oh, you should write this down or whatever, or just dictate it. And I started kind of journaling some of these stories from my childhood. And I was like, wow. And I started really chronologically thinking of these incidents, and I remembered names. I felt feelings, and it was pretty like cathartic, right? To experience things again. And so the next step was, of course, why don't you do a one-woman show? And I learned about writing from that because I worked with a really great writer who is a master storyteller. Her name is Sandra Delgado, and who's also his wife. So that was convenient. And created a framing device, so to speak. They call it a framing device, where my one-woman show was me in therapy discussing these incidents with my therapist. And it was really cool because I got to throw in pictures from my family. Has tons of pictures. That was projection, old music. My dad used to DJ these parties for a club we had called Soul in Suburbia. And so that was the name of the show, Soul in Suburbia. And it really is pulled from that actual club, but it's about like that passion you feel inside and that soul when you're kind of like in a place that you don't fit in. But Soul in Suburbia could be anywhere. Like you're talking about the anger people have when they're not following their dreams and their passion. It's like that soul is like bubbling, ready to come out and get out of that little box or container that it's in. So that was the production. It was amazing experience. I learned so much, and it was very therapeutic.
That's amazing. The success of Soul in Suburbia resulted in you making a full-length show in 2019. How did that project influence your career?
Well, I got seen more. I think that in that conversation we have in our head every day, as a talent in Chicago, this is a huge theater and improv community, and I wasn't a huge part of those communities. I really stumbled into acting, like didn't set my sights on it. I think I was pretty much afraid to be in front of the camera. I had done tons of work off camera, producing, wardrobe, even makeup. I tried all the things, and I was used to dance. Dance, you don't have to talk. It was self-expression that came from my body, and that had me covered. And when I was taking my daughter into auditions and such, the agent was like, hey, Mom, do you want to get signed? And I was like, signed to what? You want me to model? I don't do that. And so I did. I got signed, and I started getting sent out on auditions. And very early on, I booked big things. So I never experienced this theater acting struggle that they talk about, learning. I mean, I didn't do theater. And I started talking to myself every day about like, nobody wants to book me for TV. And it's like, yeah, girl, you don't do theater. They don't see you.
Wow.
You a lot of money, but they don't care about that 40 seconds, that 4 seconds of the 30 seconds that you were on camera. They want to see you develop a range of a character. And so being able to do that full-length play, work with other actors, act kind of as a co-director, develop more method of how I find and create and build a character was a really huge step for me in being able to like call casting directors and call my agents and have them come and see me do my thing. And I really did get a chance to just leave it all on the stage. It was beautiful.
That's so amazing. Besides being a performer and a writer, you're also a voiceover. Can you share with us some of the most memorable projects you did as a voiceover actor?
I got to do election stuff. I shouldn't say election stuff because you can't really call it election stuff because it's nonpartisan work. But one of the projects I did this fall was for an organization that really got on the ground and encouraged folks to get out and vote, and young people. And we let young folks have a voice in part of the exploration of the election and the candidates and the policies. And I really enjoyed being able to do a little bit of good for the people. That was probably more meaningful. All that other stuff was like, I can always do a voice and announce over something or do the good person, bad person example in an audio. But like really actually doing something that I knew mattered for this world, the democracy. That felt good.
So during the quarantine, I know you're super creative. So what projects did you fulfill during the quarantine?
I overachieved in quarantine to the point where I burnt myself out. I think I was using it as a coping mechanism. And like I said, I do visual art, and I got myself back into writing. And when I would hit roadblocks with writing, I would want to do something tangible. So I'm a hoarder. I'm an emotional hoarder as far as like sentimental things. I save all my playbills, all my tickets, all my wristbands from shows. I love production. And I kept all my playbills and all my Alvin Ailey magazines and stuff. And I made the first of the installment is like an Ailey Dance to Harlem Ballet Folklorico, like a collage of dance shows. The next one is going to be concerts. Then the next one is going to be games, because I'm a sports fan too. So I started doing things with my hands to inspire me to get back into like another frame of mind to be able to write again. And that's how I started really digging back into my poetry and putting that together in some type of container that now became a book and a poetry album.
Yeah, so tell us a bit about your book and where people can purchase it.
Oh, the book, you can get it on any online retailer. I'm saying any, I don't even know. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, blackbookstore.com. All the information is at my website for the book, which is criesfromquarantine.com. So definitely log on there and explore what it's all about besides what I like to gush about. There's some really beautiful writing on the site too. But Cries from Quarantine was really not all written in quarantine. I started probably a year and a half putting some of these poems to paper, then into my voice memo app, and then into the notes app in my phone. And they were all over the place. And I started thinking about the old ones that I had written as I started writing new ones last spring. And they all really centered around love. And I saw a painting, a pandemic painting on Instagram. And there's a friend of mine who'd also discovered or rediscovered a gift of his during quarantine. He's a visual artist as well as a writer and cinematographer and editor. And I saw the painting and I was like, that inspires me. That's what I want to do. I want to have my book be called Cries from Quarantine. So I collected all the poems about love. And then I decided, okay, well then what makes sense of this? And in quarantine, you had to really sit still and reflect. You had only you or your loved ones. And it gave me a good chance to really take a look at what love means to me and the different shapes and forms that love comes in. So I have 4 chapters in Cries from Quarantine. And still sitting still in quarantine, I decided I wanted to hear some of them out loud. And that's how the next phase of Cries from Quarantine came in, which is CFQ, the gallery remixes. I took 10 of the poems from the book and 2 bonus poems and got with a really great collaborator friend of mine who's an amazing producer, musician, music supervisor, composer, arranger. He EP'd the project, and we now have a companion album to Cries from Quarantine.
Nice. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Can you show us some of your art behind you?
Yeah. This painting, this is actually a torn paper mosaic of the World Trade Center. From the time I was a child, we used to go to concerts there, and I was obsessed with it. I'm still obsessed with it. So that 9/11 thing is reaching a anniversary this year. I think it's the 20th anniversary or whatever. So I plan to take this one out and make some prints. So keep that in mind. I might do 30 or something. Up top there is probably hard to see, but I used to do a lot of life drawing classes. I like the human form because I am a dancer and I love lines. You know, everything with dance and ballet is about your lines. So I never stopped to dig further into that. I used to take live drawing classes. I also have work here, and it's probably hard to see, from other local Chicago artists. Maribel Todd, that hand is about Stop Shooting Us. That one is about social justice. And the one that's behind my head here, this blue, the Get 'em Girl is an artist here named Steve Bravo, who I found a lot of inspiration in lately. And I used his art in my, I made a visual poetry expression of one of my poems called Your Mistake. And I wanted that in the video because it kind of reminded me of the spirit of the character in the song.
That is beautiful. I love it all. And I hope that you sell lots of the Twin Towers. You know, you said that you were going to be selling that painting around the anniversary. So good luck with that.
Thank you.
As someone that's popular in your industry and is on her way to domination, what are some helpful tips you can recommend to people who wish to live your life?
My life is really simple. And I'm starting to drive people crazy. I think I retreat into my creativity, and I think that makes some people uncomfortable, but I realize that that's a boundary and a safe space for me. So I recommend that people find their own routines and rituals and personal protocol, so to speak, where you have time that is just for you, self-care, self-exploration. That is important. So every morning I wake up, I still read the Bible every morning. I still meditate every morning. I shouldn't say still. I've developed a meditation practice every morning. That's not really the easiest for me. I want to get up and go. So that really has been a bar set that I've made where I don't take phone calls until a certain time. I don't look at my emails. I don't look at social media early in the morning. I don't even look at the weather. And I barely squeak by to make it into some morning news talk shows. Your mornings are sacred. It is when you get up and you set the tone for the day. Your days can be as great as your mornings. And your morning routine can also be a reminder where you have that opportunity to reset at any point in the day. Like you said earlier, anything can go wrong in your day. You can run into traffic and all that Om Shanti stuff you did is gone. But if you do it and you have a routine and you have some sort of even a 2-3 minute practice, an app you can use or whatever, you always have that opportunity to redirect your journey for the day. And this is someone I am a fiery Aries. I could cuss somebody out in 30 seconds eloquently because I'm a writer. But yeah, that is very important for me to get myself back into the frame of mind where I started my day, where I'm at my best, I'm fresh, I'm one with the source. I might have taken a beautiful shower, eaten a nice breakfast. Like I have a real recommendation. Make your mornings the way you own your day, whatever that is, whatever that looks like.
Thank you. That was so powerful. But when you master the mind, you can live such amazing life. You can't allow the negative thoughts or the negative things that happen in your life just take over. So whenever you're able to retract your mind to the great things that are going on, you'll feel so much better. And I think the problem is that people have a problem with that they don't know how to retract their minds back to that positive space. And so they drag along with that negativity all day. And then it's like you wasted your day, so.
Yep.
So yeah, that is very powerful. Yeah. What are some projects you're working on now that we should look forward to seeing in the future?
Well, I will be doing more with Crafts in Quarantine in the way of creating more visual art, more videos based off of the CFQ, the gallery remixes tracks. I love to perform, so there will be more of that. And I need to really whittle my way into more live spoken word performances because I used to not like my voice and I get really, really amazing reactions and to my voice. And I'm having people tell me that they cry when they hear my poem, We, and I'm like, well, I'm the only one allowed to cry for that. What are you talking about? It touches you too? Oh, okay. Maybe I should do more of this. And so I'm looking forward to just carrying this baby on a little further, raising her up a little bit more while I look back and dig in. I have screenplays that I started. I have a web series I wrote that from the Soul and Suburbia play that I haven't touched in a while. I'm looking forward to just going back into some of the things that I started. And now that we're looking more into a life of production again, I have tons of auditions that have come up. So things are happening. I'm looking forward to getting into a space where I can pitch my projects that are just sitting here. Let's go.
Well, right. Well, we can't end this show without you kind of giving us a little bit of your poetry.
Oh.
So do you mind?
I don't mind. Do you want to read one?
Yeah, let's hear one.
Let's see. Today is Sunday. Sunday is Self-Care Sunday. So let's do Rose Quartz.
Okay.
Rose Quartz is the crystal of love, self-love, unconditional love, any kind of love that you seek to emit or attract. Rose Quartz, which I have everywhere in my house, is the, if you want Crystal 101, that's the stone to pick up. So Rose Quartz goes like this. I want to wash your pain away, heal those wounds with love, wipe away your tears, send you light from above. I want to be the one with whom you share your fears. I'll tell you you were brave all those complicated years. Give you laughter where there's tension, give you praise where there's been no mention, hand you intimacy with no intention. I'll let you be your invention. We can have a beautiful life of our design, me and you, in our own time. More love, more patience, walk to our own cadence. When we are healed and whole, our love will be unstoppable.
Yay! Love it. That is a beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thanks for allowing me to share and heal today.
Yes. Lastly, what are your thoughts on mentors, and who would you say influenced your life most significantly?
Well, mentorship is really important. I feel like being coached, being coachable, being able to take constructive feedback is major. I don't think mentors are always, we always think of this idea that mentors are supposed to be with us through the entire journey. And I don't think that's true, because their job is to get you to a certain place, and that continues to help you grow and evolve, right? If you're lucky, you have a mentor that lasts through all of those seasons. But so keep that in mind too. I think, don't think of mentorship as this clutch, this latch on and stay with that's not a crutch. It's a person that's supposed to propel and further your exponential growth. For me, mentors are plenty. I have been blessed with opportunities to be involved in tons of activities my entire life. So again, I told you I'm really great friends with my first dance teacher. I consider her a mentor because she's still there for me. Like, you need to know that people are supporting you in whatever part of your journey you're on. I don't really dance anymore. She's still a part of my life. That's wonderful to have that person that knew me as a little 9-year-old, couldn't tap well. I sucked at tap. Saying, hey, you can do it, right? My aunt Ruth was a huge part of my belief that Black women can lead the performing arts and raise up others in the performing arts. So I would say Ruth Williams, the legendary lady of dance in Harlem, is, she's rest in peace. But my daughter actually was born on her birthday, and I feel like that means something and matters. So I would definitely say that as far as like a vision for what I would want my life to be like type of mentor, that my Aunt Ruth lived by her own design.
Nice. That's incredible. Please let everyone know how they can connect with you.
Well, on my lower third here, that is my personal Instagram at They Call Me DNA. My name is Dana Nicole Anderson. And you can also find more as I explore the visual aspect and sharing the poetry from Cries from Quarantine. You can follow me at Cries from Quarantine. At Cries from Quarantine is on IG. And again, my website is criesfromquarantine.com. But please join my journey, follow my process. I'm a big person on step-by-step process. So I'm not trying to create an overnight success. I'm figuring this out, the self-publishing game and putting out my own work game one day at a time. So please follow me along with it. It's fun here.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for being on this show, and I look forward to seeing more work of yours in the future.
Thank you so much, Brittany. You're amazing.
You're welcome. Well, thank you guys for tuning into the Release Show. See you next time.
you.